Hey, Tales of Turam here, guys. This is a weird intro, but yeah. We're here today with a Session 0 for the new campaign, the Wailing Gorge. This is going to be a small campaign, hopefully, again. Um, I'm here today with a Session 0 for Petra v. Tulin. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah, I didn't add Bill Dawson to my name yet.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. This is going to be taking place about a month after the, why can't I think of the name? The Great Celestial Solstice. No, the Great Celestial Solstice. I can't remember what the name of it is. The Complete Celestial Solstice, the Grand Zenith of Creation.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, there it is. Anyways, so that's where it is. So, as our vision descends upon an orange, sunlit sunset, the desert heat waves can be seen piercing at the horizon of the great lands of Durath, the great sands of Durath. As we see and find ourselves upon the Grand Durathi River that snakes through the central area of the continent from north to south sea. The river itself, very wide, and surrounding it many bits of plant life and wildlife flock to it for its nutrient source of water in this dry, arid, and not humid, but arid, sand-filled desert. We find ourselves in central Durath. Not central Durath, but in the central area of Durath, along this river. On the eastern side of the river, in the Illicoles, I'm going to call it the Illicoles section of Durath, the district. Go ahead and pull up my notes here on this place because I have forgotten about it. So give me 1 second. I was like, okay, I have all this in mind. What was I about to say? Let's see. The regions of Durath. Where is it? Nope. Okay, I guess it's just not here, huh? Uh-oh. Yeah, no, it's just not here. Okay. The Illicoles area of Durath is filled with flats, not grasslands, but some areas of dried grass and cracked earth, with vegetation that lies in different areas. Sand from the central Dunic region does blow through north and eastward through this area. To the north of it, a small stretch of the Cania district, and to the east, the wastelands, and the southeast, the off-continent island of Dura, which is home to the Durat tribesmen. Illicoles is known for its somewhat prominent rains in the early spring, or should I say, growth. However, the environments of Durath can be discussed at a different time. As we find ourselves within a large port city in this central region of Durath. Along the river, we can see many boats docked and moored at this large stone and adobe city that sits upon the edge of the Grand Durathi River, as its currents pool from south to north. Which is strange, because most assume the river would go north to south. However, in the waning portion of these cool but starting to heat up days of the end of winter, many large-scale battles having ended, and the end to the Grand Durathi Civil War taking place with the rise of the Jagabrettian Alliance and the fall of the Hydra and the... how should I say? The recent hidden but now newly founded outcries of the previous queen of the traitorous Cold King Surrectus Vaughn, and the siege on the capital. The siege, no one having heard what has happened in the previous month. As we find ourselves within this great city in the central region of Darath, the center of the shipbuilding of the Navy of the once Grand Empire of Darath, as well as the trade center of Darath itself. We find ourselves in the Eve, in the eastern portion of the central part of the city. Give me 1 second. As a small wind gust blows through the city, we see an individual finishing counting up their items, making sure everything is in a neat place in their bags, fidgeting a little bit as their wings flip and flap almost like a cat's ears in the wind, as their garb blows and a little bit of sand hits their face. V, as your character looks upon the city and continues to pack their belongings as they pay for their inn room and begin to leave, you step into the stone streets of Riverton, a large stone city that seems to hold a more Greek kind of theme to it. Everybody is wearing togas, people wearing sandals. You can see some different areas within the city, some small buildings that seem to have fountains and statues and different, how should I say, plant life, like small trees and bushes, do litter some areas of the city, as we see small aqueducts run from above parts of the city to different areas, northeast, southwest. You can see and hear the last bits of the shipyards finishing up their day's work. As the sand brushes a little bit into your eye, you use your clawed finger to dig it out. If you would like to describe your character, please.
Eldothan, a rather tall and rather experienced looking, based upon his rather, shall we say, rugged face. Looking Emerald Dragonborn. 4 horns, the top 2 broken at the center, the second half floating just above, while the bottom half seems to be fully intact still. He has 2 large pairs of green wings upon his back, as well as a tail that hovers just above the ground. He's about 7'8". With a determined smile on his face, he begins heading to... By the way, I already know about the thing by this point, right? I'm on my way there, right?
Yeah, you've just finished your shopping
Okay.
and you're about to start getting onto the carriage, but you're just making sure everything's good. You're not at the
As
carriage
he
just
begins
yet.
heading towards where he knows the carriage to be, to head upon this underground expedition.
Alright. You begin to pick up your items, put them along, and you see no sign of the other Dragonborn that had accompanied you. Not really accompanied you, but you'd seen on multiple legs of your journey thus far to this point. In fact, you stayed in the same inn, the Leaky Aqueduct, within the eastern or central eastern portion of the city. The city, by the way, has 2 walls. One seems to be a very older, kind of repaired multiple times, central stone wall that protects the innards of the city, which seems to have been, at one point, the only part of the city, and a newly formed, within the last 10 years probably, palisaded wall that seems to be, another wall that seems to have originally been palisades and adobe mixed with some stone that has been recently added onto it. You are within that first central wall, in the eastern portion of it. You see a large aqueduct runs above it, and you can see a new portion of it has been added that goes to the outer wall. That portion of the that portion of the sea. There we go. I was trying to get my voice back there. Sorry. But you could see a small drop of water seems to leak from the aqueduct onto a multi-tiered adobe and stone building. The building itself has the color of sandstone, with reds and oranges and blues on the outside, though in this darkened night it's hard to tell the colors really, as they seem to match with the setting sun, and start to darken. However, you could see there are very few windows on the building, and you could hear the joyous laughter coming from inside. You spent a few nights here. It's a nice place. It seems to be where most of the common folk go to. It's not too fancy of a place, but it's not expensive either. You figure you know why it's called the Leaky Aqueduct. It's no-brainer.
And yeah, based upon the, leaky aqueduct.
Yeah. At this point, you begin to saddle up your items on your back. What is your passive perception?
I believe it's 16. Let me double check. Could be wrong on that. No, 14. My bad.
14. All right. You begin to saddle it up onto your back, and as you begin to pull up your coin purse, you begin to count it again, just to finicky. You're kind of finicky. You put it off to the side while you're counting your items. You start to count. You're 1 gold short of what you just were a few minutes ago.
My God. I'm gonna look around and see if I can figure out if I either see it or see someone who might have taken it.
Or maybe you dropped it. But yeah, go ahead and make me a...
Like I said, seeing if I see it.
Yeah.
Because I might have dropped it.
Yeah, make me a perception check, please. I mean, you didn't... honestly, your passive perception didn't pick up you dropping a coin. But maybe you did. Maybe you just weren't listening properly. I don't know why. I pictured your character had, like, these very nerd-like glasses on. And, like, he was using his tail to adjust them, but I don't know.
No, that's me in real life. He does have a pair of reading glasses, mind you.
Oh, that's fine, yeah.
Just for the sake of flavor.
Yeah, no problem.
I know it doesn't really matter. Yeah. He can read without them, he just prefers to use them.
First roll
in case
there's
smaller
here.
details.
14, oh, okay. So, as you begin to look around, you do see, you don't see your coin, but you do see a glimmer in the side of your eye, and you look towards something something towards the central of this point of the city. You do see what seems to be this urchin, this individual who seems to be in a ragged tunic that's more brown than it is white at this point. You see this child that seems to just be running away, and you can see a gold coin that they're tucking into one of their pockets. They are in a more ragged-looking cloak, or clothing.
I'm gonna sigh, knowing full well that I should get it back, but at the same time, well, I have this on top of the gold I started with, right?
Well, this would be part of your 100 starting gold, plus whatever. So you don't start with your starting equipment, is what I mentioned multiple times.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah, I have the gold to spend, and then I have the extra 100 that is just mine.
The gold to spend was the gold that you spent on your materials. Anything you had left, you did not keep, is what I mentioned.
Okay. Yeah, and I get paid 100 afterwards.
Yeah, so after you spend all of that, which you already have, you have 100 on you. And I only gave you that because in case you guys need to persuade someone. Because you're not going to be doing a lot of shopping. But in case you need to persuade someone, I gave you some gold. You know? It's good to have some in pocket.
No, knowing that I'm going to still have that much gold, I am going to sigh and head over to the kid. Because I'm guessing I can catch up to a kid, right?
Oh yeah, there's a few people walking around, a lot of people. You can see a few people with baskets on their head, carrying stuff around, but...
Obviously, I'm going to be careful not to bump into anybody, making sure to...
Yeah, you managed
keep my tail to myself.
You managed to do so, and you managed to catch up to the kid as you kept an eye on them. You almost lost them a few times, but you do see them duck into an alleyway. And you are right near the alleyway about a few seconds after they ducked in.
I'm gonna head down the alleyway
Okay. So as you begin to head into the alleyway, you do see the kid is about 30 feet into it and is running down, not holding the coin, seemingly have tucked it in, and is running down towards. You're not sure, but there's like a few doors to the back of this alleyway that lead into different establishments, but they seem to be about 30 feet down, and they seem to be heading forward still.
Alright, give me 1 sec here. I need to get into the voice here. Hey, kid! You know you took that and it doesn't belong to you.
The kid stops and turns around and sees you and begins to dash off forward even further.
I am going to chase after him. And if my 40 movement speed is not enough, I do have one extra trick up my sleeve.
Yeah, dude, your movement speed is the same as their dashing speed. They're a child. So, they eventually start to round a corner and you do get directly up to them. What do you want to do?
I'm going to put my hand on the shoulder. Look, just give me back the gold. You know it doesn't belong to you.
Alright. So as you put your hand on their shoulder, you get a good look at this kid now. You can see what seems to be a fluffy tail, dog-like ears from the top of their head, and a bit of fur-like scruff, but not a lot. That seems to be instead of hair. As they turn towards you, you can see this human-like face. I will say your character... actually, you may not have run into these. Roll me an intelligence check.
God damn it. I told you I have a -1 to this.
Mm-hmm. Actually,
11.
You can make this as a nature check if that's better.
Actually, yes, it is. That would make it a 13.
That's fine,
or
yeah.
not 13, a 14, my bad.
14. So you do recognize this because you did study up on Durath a little bit when you came here before, hearing about some of the archaeological finds that they are having here. This is a demi-human. The demi-humans are humanoids that have features of animalistic, such as lizardkin or wolfkin, such as this, or other creatures that some of them look more animalistic but have a humanoid form or a humanoid structure, while some look more humanoid but have like a tail and ears and claws or stuff like that. They are heavily oppressed in Durath, and in fact, many of them have... Almost all of them have found their way out of Durath, and there was a huge event a few hundred years back when the 1,000 Years of War was still in effect, and multiple events that caused them to migrate south past the Stormbridge Mountains, which is the edge of the Empire in the south, or completely off the main continent of Durath, just due to the subjugation and prejudice against them, even though they do look humanoid, which is strange to you, because you look at a kobold and you're like, it's just a kobold, they're lesser than me, but like, I'm not going to be very too badly prejudiced against it, and then it goes into your mind, oh wait, yeah, that's how, it's kind of like a caste system in our, never mind. But as you look at this kid, you realize, okay, I can see.
This is why.
Yeah, they seem very frightened as you have your hand on their shoulder. You can see, like, tears are starting to form in their eyes. They do not know.
Before I respond to him, I need to ask you one question real quick.
Sure.
So, just one more quick clarification. I still have the gold left over from buying things.
No.
No?
You do not.
So what they took is from my money.
Yes, they took from your 100 gold pieces. 1 gold.
I am going to say...
Before
look,
you continue,
kid.
Before you continue, in Durath, a gold can last a family of 4 about 2 weeks of time before they start to starve again. In Tyrellian and all that stuff, they make about 15 gold a month. In Draconia specifically, a gold piece can last you about a day. So your bearing of knowledge here is kind of like, it's about a week's worth of time. In your knowledge, you're like, okay, in certain things, it could probably last you a week or 2. You would know that, at least.
Yeah. And knowing full damn well that this kid probably took it because literally his family is probably going to
Oh yeah,
die without it.
you can see like their tunic that they're wearing is like you can see that it's been tried to be clean, but it's to that point where it's so dirty and they probably use like a bristle brush against this nice cloth fabric, and you can just see holes and everything in it. This kid is probably hasn't seen a gold piece in his life.
Eldon is just gonna say, "Look, kid, I'm gonna be fully upfront with you. Stealing it ain't right. But at the same time, the way that your kind are treated also isn't right. So here's what I'm gonna do. Give you I'm gonna let you keep that gold. I'm gonna pull out one more gold. I'll give you one more, but you have to promise me that you ain't gonna steal if you can avoid it."
He looks at you, and you can see he was starting to get a little bit of tears in his eyes because he got caught. And he looks at you as you hand it to him. He just holds it, and he looks at you and nods his head very fast.
I'm gonna gently pat my head. All right.
His tail starts to wag.
I hope it lasts you a good bit, kid. Don't like seeing others suffer, you know? And I'm gonna start heading back.
He scurries off.
I just
Secretly,
lost
that's
two
the
gold for the kid.
BBEG. You've just given him a step ahead. I play my
If I did, I don't care. It's worth it.
You've activated my trap card. I play Pot of Greed. It allows me to steal 2 extra gold from your inventory. That's not what it do. It is, though. Anyway, so, as you begin to head back, you hear the sounds of the town becoming quieter, and the winds blowing heavier, all that shit.
Yeah, in hindsight, Eldothan is kind of realizing it's probably terrifying having an extremely tall,
lizard man,
very well armed,
ornate lizard man
person.
Yeah.
Ornate, yes, in his mind, ornate lizard man.
Yeah, mind you,
come after you and put his hand on your shoulder after you stole from him.
You're a freakier, much different looking lizard man than he's probably seen before. So yeah, not to mention you're much more buff. Like walking around and you're like starting to think about it, you do see a few like buff humans here, and like they have that philosopher buff body from ancient Greece. But you're over here with like bulging muscles, like your deltoids are fucking huge. Like they're the size of grapefruits compared to these motherfuckers. I'm assuming you went large fucking strength because you're a barbarian, right?
I put my highest stat in strength, yes,
Okay.
which is 16.
Yeah, compared to these people who have like a 12 in strength, you're like bulging like wait. So yeah. So, it's like that Meat Canyon guy who's like small head but like big ass muscles.
Don't remind me of Meat Canyon ever again.
Do you want to see God? For 25 cents a mere quarter. Anyways.
In the Steve Harvey stare one.
Anyway, so, as you continue, you eventually get to the outskirts of the city in the south, where you can see about a day's journey away, just on the horizon, what seems to be this large tower that has been in your view the last day or two that you've been here. A tower that seems to tower thousands of feet up. You can see a lime green glow to it. Not very bright. You've been told that it was very lime green, bright glow, and it almost seemed to light up the desert around it for miles the last few years, but recently, apparently, since the attack at the capital, it seems to have diminished a little bit at a time to the point where it is now. It seems to be almost that of a glow stick looking at and seeing it from like a mile away. Like you can barely see it. But you can see that, you can see pieces of it are starting to crumble off and fall. You are told that it is called the Lime Monolith. It is... it's an emerald green. I'm stupid. It's called the Emerald Monolith. They're not sure what it is, but it appeared after... it appeared a few days before the Battle of the Red Dawn a few years ago. It's unknown exactly what its purpose is, but it summoned a guardian, a champion of sorts, and every night it seems like it would challenge certain individuals to do battle. Eventually, a few individuals did do battle with it and managed to topple the champion and gain access to the tower. However, what happened after they entered is unknown because they never shared it and disappeared without a trace after leaving towards the capital city of Martel. This was a few years ago.
Kind of just make. It'll often probably make a mental note. Definitely something to investigate at some point.
I will also say whatever information you would have gained would have also mentioned that there was an ancient ruin there from like before the Second God Wars that was being excavated, an entire site of it that was like a downwards like spiral like in the ground buried over a long time, and then that popped up above it and kind of it's unsure if it destroyed the ruin or not because the ruin is inaccessible at the moment at least.
Yeah, definitely the next place he's going after this mission.
It's fine, yeah. You do know that Retta Village, I'll say, I don't remember if it's Retta or Rue Village, is about a day's journey beyond that, and that is directly east. Anyways, so as you see this large tower looming in the distance, you feel a heavy wind push by you, and you hear the moving of a cart as you see a camel walk by you, munching on something. You're unsure. It looks like a fruit, like a melon. As it passes by and then stops, you see a large cart with these sled-like, instead of wheels, it seems to be these sled-like devices, rails placed upon the bottom of the cart itself. The cart itself is made of, not metal, it seems to be made out of wood, and it seems to be a good, like, I say cart, but it's more of a carriage. It's about a good 30 foot long, going from front to back. It is very, almost lamp, like almost genie lamp shape design, but it has many, it's not fully encased of wood. From what you're seeing, it seems to have a few central points where these large pieces of felt and fabric are just draped over, and it is just this cacophony, this domed structure on the top, this domed lid of felts and fabrics that seem to block out the sun, if there was sun to block out, because at this point the sun would have set. You could see bits and pieces of like metal that seem to hang from it, pieces of like wire that are on different places. There seems to be this small area where you could open the flaps of the felts and you could just jump in. You could see at this point the felts are moving and you could hear revelry from inside. And that's when I hit. You should have seen him when I hit him at that point. He would, and you could hear there sounds of revelry from inside. And you could hear, see an individual sitting at the front. This heavily just garbed individual in these desert attires. His face is wrapped with many different like felt scarves that seem to block any view of his face. His body is covered in many different wrappings as well as a few draping pieces of cloth on his body. It seems he's prepared for a sandstorm almost, and you can only see a faint glow from underneath his from in between the bands of felts that seems to be these two lime green eyes as he turns and looks towards you, and then just points his hand back towards the entrance of the sled, we'll call it, as if to gesture welcome and get in.
Adathan will simply nod before heading to the back and hopping in.
Alright. As you hop in...
Heavy ass self.
As you hop in...
I should also mention, I just realized most of the party lacks dark vision.
You're right.
Including me, unfortunately. No Dragonborn gets dark vision as far as I'm aware.
I think the only one with dark vision, because neither do Furbolgs, is the Tiefling.
So the Tiefling. That's it. Damn good thing I have torches.
What good will a torch do in the supreme darkness of night called upon by magic? Anyway.
To be fair, dark vision doesn't work in magical darkness either.
Joe? Anyways, horror campaign incoming. Anyway, so as you hop in, the cold desert night is starting to give a breeze to you, and the sled kind of jiggles a bit with you jumping on because you are pretty fucking heavy. You jump in and you pull the fabrics down, and you like turn around and pull it down, and there's this nice warmth inside the carriage itself. There's a nice small bit of lighting. The room seems to be lit with a very dim pinkish orange glow on the inside, which gives a light to the many fabrics around here. The fabrics themselves almost have that like when you put a flashlight up to your hand and you can see like the red through your hand, basically. That kind of feeling to it. Which you hadn't noticed from the outside. It seems the pelts on the felts, whatever they're fucking called on the outsides, are padded more heavily than the inside. And as you step in, there's this general heat that seems to just be the body heat of everybody in here, creating that seems to be stuck in here due to the many cloths and fabrics, giving you a warm night instead of a very freezing night. These smells are the smells of small bits of body odor mixing with a bit of incense that seems to be a lavender scent, which is not very... Lavender is famous for its scent here in the Durathian Sands, but not very common. It is usually only given to nobility or individuals of higher station here, because it is a hard enough resource to come by. However, there's also another kind of melony scent that seems to be mixed in as well. As you slowly turn around, you do see a few individuals in the cart. Who you do see is what seems to be... Give me a second to go look at the characters here. What you see is an individual that seems to be blue of skin color, wearing dark robes that fall upon him. He seems to have a sword, a great sword that seems just to be sitting next to him, laying on one of the seats. Mind you, the seats in this sled, because it's very big, are not casual wooden, like, sitting on the seat, hurting your ass kind of seat. There are actual, like, Arabic kind of curved couches with many pillows and felts draped over them. And you can see your friends are all sitting, well, the individuals in the cart are all sitting here. You see this large, great sworded, wielding tiefling, a member of the more devilish races, with these two large horns that curve upwards at the top of their forehead and above their head, blackened, almost like the night themselves, with these yellow eyes, his blue skin. He seems to keep his composure, and he seems to be out of it for the moment, as he seems to be just staring at the small, flickering what seems to be orange flame made of magical light, that seems to be dancing within a small, lantern setup that seems to be in the center of the area. He seems to be unresponsive. You also see, sitting within this cart, a man who you cannot make any details out about. He seems to be wearing this finely draped but very worn, beautiful not corset, I don't think that's the right word, jacket, I don't know, jerkin we'll call it. I don't know what it's called when it's cloth, but it's a jerkin. He's wearing this fine cloth piece for his upper torso that comes to a cape in the back, with many shag-like effects to it. His hands are covered in leather gloves, and his pants are that of slacked leather black. Of course, Domino will give a better description whenever I fucking do one with him, but it's Domino's character. He seems to be wearing a metal helm that has many reflective surfaces upon it that reflect the many different pieces of light and moving pieces within this cart. He seems to be staring and moving his head to get a good and well understanding of the people around. He seems to be speaking to himself, and he pulls out a small notebook and begins to write down information. You also see within this cart familiar face, one that you kind of iffy with, don't really care, but don't really...
The other Dragonborn.
You've seen him a few times here. It is Damuk, the other Dragonborn that you have met along your journey a few times. He seems to be large, and his body is covered in this beautiful plate mail, I believe he took. I can't remember properly.
Yeah, he's wearing full plate, he said.
Yeah.
We mentioned the issues with that.
Yeah. As he stands there, well, he doesn't stand there. He seems to be regaling some tales from your journey thus far. as he seems to be buddying up against a few what seem to be like wily and like scrawny kind of humans that seem to be wearing these beautiful leathers and tanned silks, or not silks, but fabrics. They seem to have glasses on. They have many scrolls and whatnot in their hands. As the sled begins to move, they seem to jostle as this man is like poking and like prodding them. Damukis, they seem very uncomfortable. These are probably researchers that are along for the journey. You do not see the man named Chunston Greenwald, or what his description would be, a darkened human man. You do not see him anywhere in this cart, and you get the feeling he may have gone ahead a few days ago, or maybe earlier today. You're unsure. You know there was at least one cart with a few people going earlier today.
I am going to say this real quick. I've just been called for an early dinner.
No problem. I was just about to end it here too, because you already went to the encounter I had prepared. So as the sled begins to jostle forward and you begin to sit down and the smell over encompasses you, you do kind of blink out for a second and begin to envision the journey you've had to this point, all the things that you've convened and understood and discovered. And you're about to set out on a journey, one of exponential purpose and possibly the greatest tale of your life so far. And these are the people you will do it with. And that's where we're going to end this session 0.
All right.